Woohoo! How you guys doing? That was nothing but a slow startup, kick up like usual. Pulling the lawnmower started. It looks like my world's tipped. Is that a feeling, a soul feeling I'm having, or would you guys conclude that perhaps my universe is slightly ajar? There we go. How's that? Hmm. Let's see. Is that better? Right on. Um, Hope some people were able to make it today. There's a couple guys here. Well, hot damn, nice to have the regulars. Um, Strong guys showing up. Thanks for getting here. I don't know if I said 10:35 or 10:30, but I find that the webinar jam is nothing short of a cool tool and hell to kickstart. With this number of 10 people, we should have just done Google Hangouts, but I want to share some screen stuff, so we'll do Hangouts later this week. We'll hang out this week, man. Um, Give me some, hey, Jason, give me some, how are you? Anybody else got a cold, sick like me? I caught the spring stuff from Nathaniel. I'm not getting this. We're not answering that. Yeah, Nathaniel's been sick, and I got something from him, and boy, just those spring colds. Ugh. I could do without that. So I want to talk a little bit about. I know some of you guys got your blood work done. I want to talk about blood work stuff, but I really wanted to get radical, real, and difficult, painful, and gruesome and grueling about where we are, what we're doing, what we're not doing, what we're going to do, why we're happy, why we're not, and what it takes to get things done. Hey man, hey John, nice, thanks. Get multiple Jasons there. I think we get to this place in life. I certainly do. I mean, I struggle with deadlines. I need a manager, whatever else it is. A few things I do well. I mean, I'm excellent at some things, but consistency of training is one thing I can do. Um, so how do you build a ritual? How do you form it? What does it take to take action? Where do I break down? Where's my kryptonite? And I thought about this from the standpoint of a show I was watching or listening to, my I Love Marketing podcast, and I was looking at some Dan Sullivan stuff, and I was thinking about his impact filter. He does this thing called impact filter, which is really meant to do before you engage in something, but it can be done after the fact or during the fact too, which helps you look at what it is I really want. What am I valuing? What am I fearing? And what is the overall impact of this? And what I want to look at right now, I'm going to be real candid. One thing I'd invited Brenton to come on today. We had a great talk yesterday about this, and he and I may do this yet this week. His schedule was screwed up this morning because he's in these crazy-ass CrossFit competitions. But one of the things we talked about was this impact thing. What do we want? And his thing for me was, what do I want out of this group? What do I want? What do each of us want? And I thought for him, it'd be great for him to kind of grill me on that so I could get at the bottom of what do I really want it to do. And I mean, I know for me, one of the things is I want to see, I enjoy the impact. I think that's why I enjoy the one-on-one so much, because I think I'm able to, with one-on-one, get underneath the things that we don't see individually that are holding us back. Because so often what's limiting us, what's blocking us, is something we can't see ourselves. It's some belief system, some structure, some priority that I think is really real, or some urgency that I've created, or some story that I've been living with for 40 years, that you can, once you see it objectively and go from that subject to object. Anybody know what a subject object shift is? Craig does. Yes. John, yeah, I caught you were down with some virus too. Bummer. Sorry to get that. The subject object shift is, and I'll go back to the easiest reference, is always, the fish that swims in the ocean doesn't know what the water is, right? He doesn't know what the ocean is. It just is. When the fish gets extracted from the water, if the fish could think, he would see the ocean. He'd go, what the hell is that thing? And all of a sudden you see what it is that you've been in. So to go from I'm subject, which is I'm in something and I believe it to be true, to object, I can see and I can make a decision on it. That's the shifts that make the big differences. Um, I believe that my strength as a um, coach is also my weakness, which is my strength is I'm an advocate for the perspective, for the awakening, for you being the author, for you being the creator, for you taking control of it, for me not being dogmatic. I also get that at certain phases of training, it's really important to be dogmatic. I mean, Tony Robbins doesn't ask you if you want to jump up and down. He just tells you to jump the hell up and down and scream, right? And there is very much a place for that. That's why the military does what the military does. When you bring people in, you indoctrinate them, you bring them through a system. And I think that I can do a stronger job in what is that system and how does one earn their wings, and not giving people, somebody said to me the other day, asked me a question on Facebook. It was one of the member areas or one of the fan pages, and he said, in Strength for Life, do you just repeat the same workout consistently, or do you change it every month? And I'm like, well, I don't know where you'd get the change every month because I don't have anything in there about changing it every month. But that said, I think that if we seek and look for Power of Now, there you go, Jason. If we look for, if we are in this mode where our workouts consist of how to entertain myself, and we are not looking at how do I repeat a practice, then what we're actually doing is going wider in our span of entertainment, not deeper in our practice. So it's entertainment versus training. If you simplify a workout and it seems kind of boring, but you get into it, so you're required to find a new depth to it. The difference between watching a video game or playing a video game and walking around the Louvre in Paris, right? It's not going to, the art, the Mona Lisa is not going to start talking and shooting laser beams at you. So it's much less stimulating on that level. But the stimulation is in the beauty of understanding. So you have to reach an understanding cognitively, experientially. You have to get into these things. You don't have to, but all the beauty, all the sweetness, all of the juice of life is all contained in the stuff where you get in, where you go in there. And so all the people that live in this superficial world where they're waiting for life to stimulate them and they react, they're taught to react to life. So they're in a total reactive mode. I wait till stuff hits me and then I react. They never get to that place of being cause. Now, this is a seemingly subtle shift on this one, but I exaggerate it with the art example. If Strength for Life was a program, which required that you change it up every single day. And I think there's a place for that variety. I think there's certainly a place for that variety. And it's fun to have some variety. But variety in the balance and in the sanity of consistency, and the consistency is the path to deepening. Meditation doesn't look at all like calisthenics for a reason, because the practice is one about going in, not, what is with this video? It looks like I'm blurry, fuzzy, or something. Oh, that's weird. It's a little sharper. There, well, you can see my age better. So, if we look at this deepening of the practice. So I guess that's what I'm saying is that's my strength, is in helping you find and make the distinction between having a perfect diet that's on a piece of paper and being a perfect diet because I live it, right? And my real bridge for people is out of the dogma and doing and into the lifestyle freedom. That doesn't mean that I have the greatest strength at being a what do you want to say? I'm not a command and control coach. There's 5 styles of leadership. There's a great article done years ago on 5 styles of leadership, and in that one, command and control was one, and not fuzzy on my end. Cool, exactly, Sean. The power now, yeah. So what I want to look at now is, what do I want out of this? I want some success stories. I want some people that are going to impact and lead other people. I want some to feel like I'm doing something of value, even, and Brent and I were talking yesterday. I have the disease of over delivery. So um, often my failure to show up to chat is because I would chat all day and then I feel like I can't give enough, and then if I can't give enough, I don't go in. So it's like, I have this over delivery thing, and I think it's working with that. Part of working with a group is me working with it, right? But as we're 3/4 of the way through this thing and we're down to the closing weeks, I've always found that school for me was that way. Like I would study and I'd work along the way, but it was always with final zone that I'd figure the stuff out and get it done, right? So we're in final zone. So how are you going to get what you need to get done? What out of here that we needed? Sure, I can do a supplement show today and I can give you 8 really cool supplements, but the hell with supplements right now. I mean, we know the basics to do. That's not the make or break. That's not our answer. That's not the key. Sure, we can spend more money on them, and I think there's some good things. We'll do it. I'm going to send you guys some. As for the hormone conversation, which I want to get back into, I'm going to send you guys a couple of talks on. I want you to listen to Dr. Life. If anybody's not listened to my interview with Dr. Life, I think it gives you a really solid foundation for life on what hormones do, what they are, and where we are going and progressing with hormone therapy, and why or why not we might want to do it. I was asking about mixing up our exercise regimen. Essentially, I was asking if there was any value to the thought of changing workouts put in there by a lot of trainers. Okay, John, let me read your question. No, you weren't, John. You weren't the question. You weren't the one that asked me. The one that I was responding to. No, but that's a good question. Essentially, I was asking if there's any value to the thought of changing our workouts. I think there's value to changing your workouts. I mean, and I think if you set it up on a month-to-month thing, that's fine. I think you can do anything. I mean, the respond I was giving to was someone outside of the group about the variety thing, and I think that variety has a place, but not to the sacrifice of the depth and focus. I think as you move along, I mean, the change up, the variety, there's multiple things you can do in variety. One, you can change your exercises. Two, you can change your workouts anytime. You can grab another one. You can go to Body for Life. It doesn't, as long as you're hitting a consistent number of days, the magic is in the execution, not in the precise nature. Now, that's not true if you're on a custom power building system. If you're on a custom power building system, then the very precision of the weights is important. The change on a lot of these comes from pushing ourselves to higher and greater levels and greater limits. I think the consistency allows us execution at first, and I think that execution is so much more important than the workout. I mean, I was talking to Brenton yesterday, and I said, what would it take to get most people to get up in the morning and tap a small Buddha statue 3 times in the head every day for 12 weeks? I mean, to think about that. All you have to do is get up in the morning and tap a little statue 3 times in the head. How many people, if given $5,000 bonus, could actually complete that for 12 weeks? 50% maybe? I mean, it's stunning. It's stunning how difficult it is to be consistent about things that change our behavior. Now, once we get consistent, once we've done 4 or 5 weeks, we'd probably do it for life, right? It's one of those things, So yeah, John. I mean, I'm open to the change of workouts. I'm just talking about but the crux of this show and the purpose of my conversation today is to get you and the people that aren't here today and the people that that need to be here today, that can't be here today, or that want to watch this later, to get them into the point of what do you want out of this, what did you want out of it, and to get really clear about what can we do, what are we going to do. Because here's the walk away. At the end of this, if in my experience in working with groups personally, virtually, in either way, is it falls down into kind of thirds, and it's just the way it falls down, thirds. A third of people don't engage much at all. And whether their lack of engagement means they're not there, not caring, or other things, some people just have a different style. It's more of a aloof style. They get what they need out of it by watching and standing back. A third of the people are in and out, kind of transient, they're around, and a third of the people are engaged, active creators. So the third that are aloof and out sometimes are watching the very active people, so it's very vital that there be a third active. But it's a third, third, third. So we end up with a third, third, third. Now, if somebody in this, group that's kind of disengaged, or the intermediary group, says to themselves, they get to the end of this and they look back and they go, well, I didn't get what I wanted out of this group. Their first response is going to be, well, they blame Sean. They go, if Sean got me up every day and tapped me on the shoulder, I'd have got to the gym. I'd have done this. Well, that's theoretically, maybe that's true. Of course, that's probably not true. You'd probably smack me in the head the second day. But the question really is, what did you want out of it? Some people, I've been in this long enough to know that what some people want out of buying a new book, starting a new diet, or any sort of health and fitness move, is they want to be released of the guilt that they're experiencing by not doing it. So once they're released of the guilt, they actually have no motivation because their goal was actually achieved. So they're really unclear on the motivation. I think that's the value of this impact filter, which I'm going to open up here in a second. And I'm going to send you a video of a guy that does a good description of the impact filter too. Yeah, it's my cold. Good times. So, what do we want out? What are we going to? I came here wanting to change my life, and I was going down the wrong path in the group, and given the tools to what I know is right for me, and given the awareness to make most people supportive decisions in my life. That's great, Jason. And you've been one of the stalwarts of activity, and that's shown, because you know what you wanted. I mean, that's, maybe this whole up front in the group, really being clear about what we want and sharing it with others and saying, how can you support me in this objective? I think it would be helpful to have, unique profiles set up where people could see us that wasn't a kind of crossover public profile. I mean, the tool of Facebook works great, and I hate to have be managing multiple socials, but I think a profile somewhere that gives us our goals, our objectives, our ongoing measurements, our before and afters would be really, really cool. That's a great share. Let me see if I can share a screen here. Do you guys see this impact filter? I know I'm at the worst 48 hours of the cold thing, but just is what it is. But man, I could do without these things, especially in the spring. Can you guys see the impact filter? Can you chat me up a little bit? Like, hey, I don't know if you guys see the screens. I haven't been working all the time. Yeah, I see it. So it should work, right? So the impact filter is about discovering, thank you, Jason, what do I want out of this? And this is, think about this when you're working in making a decision to go into something. So, the impact filter, I'm going to do a 12-week challenge, the project, the purpose. Change my body, life, energy, whatever, the importance I'm not exactly sure. Importance would be around maybe it's very important. But the ideal outcome, so your ideal outcome is where you get down to what would be the best, the best result is something below, but the ideal outcome is, um, I lose 15 pounds fat, gain 5 pounds muscle, learn to maintain lifestyle and feel great and look awesome for summer. Okay, ideal outcome. So now we've got an ideal outcome. Success criteria, these are other things like, you can write down, I also learned how to maintain a diet. I also found, maintain focus intensity practices. I learned how to, connect my mind more to it. I figured out how to get my supplements straight. I had my testosterone clarified. Now I understand men in the midlife. I connected with some good people. So these are kind of all of these benefits that come from it. The best result is something that's very personal, but this is writing down what is the absolute best thing I could imagine happening from this thing, which is, like for me, a best result from this group would be, 10 guys make stunning transformation, cracking the code and resistance of belief that men in the prime of life can't get as fit as they want with time and family demands. This influences hundreds of other men and winds create, that's a reach, but what the hell? Worst outcome. So this is the part where, so with your best result, what you're saying is what I really could barely even stand to hope for. I just don't even know if I could hope for this. Then the worst result is, what are my fears? Because we all have these fears, but we don't get clear on the fears. So we look at the fear, we say, okay, look, what's the worst result? For me, I fail to show up strong, fall apart, don't deliver, and the group is broken and pissed. That sucks. That's a worse result. And no one gets a damn thing. Worst result for one of you guys might be that I pass up the opportunity to engage in any of the stuff. I feel like I didn't get anything out of it, and therefore I make a story to myself that I'm not really a fitness person and that it doesn't matter and that I didn't want it in the first place, and it's 5 years before I have to reassess the fact that it was just me having a resistance and a resistance to it. So it sets me back instead of taking me forward. So the idea of an impact filter is to do something like this in advance and to say, so I know what I'm going into. I understand my emotional energy about it. I have these hopes that so often we have, like we'll declare a goal, but we really haven't really gotten objective about what our hopes are. And then, that would be the ideal outcome more so. Then the best result is something we can't, we just don't even allow ourselves to dream about. It's like, I actually, make a lifestyle change that's permanent. I, reinvigorate my marriage at such a place. I influence my kids and, um, I change my family's eating habits, extended family, by being a source of influence, whatever that be, So there's something there and that kind of ignites that deeper, like, wow, that's a possibility. Think about that. Every time we walk in the store, we don't think about winning the lotto, there's a possibility. So what's that possibility? But this helps us get clear, and I think get really clear about what it is. Because I do believe that, at least one or two people in this group got in this group with no intent to do anything other than to be released of the responsibility of doing anything. And that isn't right or wrong. I just want to, us all to be clear on that. And I also want to know what it is I can do to better support. I think that there's a lot I can do about greenifying this, having a better system, being more, and I took this one really saying, look, I want to be more personal about it, but I do think that the coaching group can be run, and probably for a lot of people needs to be run more in a high discipline modality, in a high authoritarian kind of leadership role and model. And I think I can do that by setting up a green system, but I don't think that that's my personality. I'm not a command and control coach. It's not my forte, and that's okay to admit that. But does this thing make any sense to you guys? Hey, I need some eye drops, don't I? Jason, nice declaration there. Appreciate that. I'm going to show you guys this one I want to send you in a minute, too. Okay, Jason, thank you. I got a response. Awesome. Um, yeah, so I really do I want to know, and I'm going to send out a follow-up email. Craig, makes sense to me. I'm going to send this form out to you too. I'm putting it in a PDF in a document. Thank you. I got some responses. That's nice. I want to know what the impact filter is. I want to know what, when all's said and done and you come away from this, I mean, at the very least, I hope that someone can walk away going, I have a better understanding of what my relationship to fitness is, what my resistances might be. I learned some tools that I didn't have access to before, or things I thought I kind of knew, but I didn't really know. I mean, one thing you're going to get from me is am I'm adamant about decluttering the crap, not holding on to dogma, not running, and it's, that's a good and bad thing in some ways, because people really like fanaticism. Some people really need and want to believe the paleo is the solution, the pill is the solution, and all these things. And, they're all partial truths. They're all partial truths. They're just part of the elephant. They're not the elephant. And so if you need to believe in something, if as an adult, it's imperative that you believe in the physical fitness version of the tooth fairy, that's okay at times. I mean, it's necessary at times for people to get certain places, and I don't support that belief very well. But what I do is give you the understanding, I think the extended understanding and the possibility to understand that you're the one that's here in control. You're the one to make the decisions, that you hold the deck of cards, that you hold the power, that nothing else changes anything but you until you do it. So it's about you, and that doesn't mean, responsibility can be both overwhelming and greatly freeing, right? Because if you understand that it's just, the pill isn't going to do it for me, the plan's not going to do it for me, I'm going to do it for me. You know, okay, Jason, nice comment. I appreciate the typing. I'm going to read the comment in case guys don't see it later. Jason says, I think that groups like this are dynamic. You can change your style throughout, but you always be you. It is good to take feedback and make adjustments, but I think you know what you want from the group and the type of guys you want. Maybe tighten the filter on the entry process no matter what. You'll always be lose a certain percentage collateral damage. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt just because you know it'll happen. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think that um, I don't take it personally, really. I don't. And I appreciate that people just don't stick. I believe the nature of this group is going to move into an ongoing group, which is, um, yeah. And I brought that. You can really only, Craig says, you really only guide. We all have to do the work. And I think you can guide and you can create the opportunity to do more work and you can be more, you can knock on their shoulder a little bit more often. And I think there's some things that can be done. I also believe that the nature of this group needs to be more cohesive and ongoing, because what happens is you get stronger people that are some people are inherently active leaders and they gain their strength by sharing it with others and they become very active, and that's just the nature of some people over others. That's why some people at their kids' schools are on the PTA board and some aren't, right? And so with a group like this, when the body of knowledge of various types of knowledge, not just fitness knowledge, starts to get past a certain group of people, there's that third of people that are active, and those third of people are active bring new people in, and it keeps growing and growing and growing, and then the knowledge base grows, and that's really what it is. I mean, if a tribe, if the American Indians broke their tribe up every 12 weeks, they'd never have, they'd starve to death in the plains, right? The tribe needs to grow, and the tribe needs to spread, and it needs to continue to grow. And I think that that's the nature of what needs to happen with the group, so that we can continue to flourish as a tribe, so that Dr. Tom is a part of the group, Mike Ryan's part of the group. There's leaders, but the leaders are growing inside from the inside out too. So that's where I see the group going. So it's not starting from scratch every time, getting to know everybody again. But I also believe inside of a group like that, in a community like that, that people will just be freely exercised. That if you don't do certain things, or you're not willing to participate at a certain level, or you do things that are against the value systems of the group, you are kindly asked to leave, not violently asked to leave, but you're out. And I think that keeps the group cleansed. It's self-cleansing. I don't know if anybody here has ever done Landmark Forum stuff. Anybody ever done Landmark Forum? So you can tell me as the comments come in. Landmark Forum used to be EST. It's really great technology. I know people get all these weird ideas about it being some cult or blah 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 or scary or whatever. I think it's some of the greatest cognitive technology that can be available. But the experience of the group and how they run it is really one of the things to watch, which is because they bring everybody together, and it has to be a group experience. So the group is where the experience is held. It is the container. Yeah, I think we're going to make it happen, Jason. So the group when you bring in for the Landmark Forum, let's say there's 35 to 50 people in a room. You have a leader and you have a group. The group is the container, and nobody's allowed to fall outside the group or to misbehave, and there's certain rules and credentials and requirements. That's essential to the experience of the whole. If somebody does something that breaks up the group or is resistant or reluctant, they're just out. The group votes them out. They're gone. And that's how they keep a certain purity. But it also, by exercising people from the group, the ones that are there become more clearly committed and more adamant about what the purpose is. So when people come in and people go out, we start to know ourselves better. And that's where it has to go. I think that the deeper value and what there is to offer has to go beyond this. I think it has to be a monthly theme. I think I'd like to see a series of 21-day sprints where there's 21-day programs that are done concurrently with every probably 3 12-weekers a year. And with 3 12-weekers a year, we could start them on a date, end them on a date. You could join in, and you get your modules start up. You guys have seen them. You can rewatch them or not watch them. You can add to the value of the new group going through them for the first time. You can watch them for the third time if you want to see the fit one. There'll be a live Q&A session to follow each one of those. But I also think month to month, we'll theme month to month and bring in a deeper conversation about cognition, cognitive sciences. I think we'll look at the integral lens. We'll look at what it means. Sharad brought up, sexuality in the primal life. We'll bring in some experts on that. It's a great dialogue. We'll bring in some real leaders on advanced meditation techniques. Haven't done Landmark Forum. I honestly, for the small $315, whatever Landmark Forum is, it's just it's a great tool. It's a great experience. If you can allow yourself to go through an experience without resistance, judgment, and being freaked out of your head, you just go through it. It's like getting on a roller coaster. If you're going to go on the roller coaster, you put on the seatbelt, grab a hold of the bar, and roll with it, right? And then you're open to the experience. You're open to whatever the experience of the next ride brings. Landmark Forum is not scary, but people who have resistance or a lot of dogma or a lot of fervent belief sometimes can become resistant to it. And if you're resistant to it, it starts to become a battle, you resisting. So that's another thing I digress on. So what I want to know from everybody here today, and this is my, speaking Landmark Forum, it's kind of my come to Jesus conversation. I'm consistently unhappy with some of the things I've done. I'm unhappy that Dr. Tom isn't here this week or last week, but I'm also flexible and flowing to the fact that he's not going to make or break us, although I think he's got great value. I do want to talk a little about some testosterone things and what we can do, and I want to give dialogue and support to that some more because I've seen some of the blood test results. I think I've been a little reluctant to have a lot of guests on this time because I just think that there's some ways they can be distractions. I feel like over the 12 months ahead, I can do a theme month where we focus on 21 days of meditation, this or that. But I think bringing things in to fill the space and not just focusing on what we need to do, because the ultimate challenge, problem, conundrum is in the execution of the practices. Can we do it? And what does it take? What does it take for me to do this for 12 weeks? What does it really take? What is my kryptonite? Where do I fall down? For me, I fall down in focus and distraction and busyness and being overwhelmed schedule, and then my overwhelmed schedule leads me to fatigue, and when I'm fatigued then I work extra hard and then I don't work at all for 2 days because I'm exhausted, and that doesn't make a lot of sense, but I do that, and I have some friends that are just the most consistent people on earth, and they're just lovely, amazing people, and they do the exact execution every day, and I wish that was me, and I'm not saying I can't be that, but I don't know that I will ever be that, and I don't know if that's just my strength. I don't want something to be an excuse, but what is your strength when it comes to consistency, and what does it take? What would it take? And what do you really want out of this? So I want to do an impact filter. I want to know where everybody is, whether you like it or not, whether you've gained 5 pounds of fat in the last 9.5 weeks. That's fine too. I just want to know, and I want you to know. And it's the kind of, when we started this thing, it's a get real thing. Let's get real about where we are. Okay, let's get real about where we are right now, because we can finish this thing strong. We take 21 days and we just kick ass. I could put you guys on a 21-day Mike Ryan Bender program, and we could train 5 days a week and train our ass off one body part a day and kick ass. That's fine. We could. I'm watching my my friend who's getting ready for her first competition in 12 days now, 10 days, 9 days, 11 days, and she's she's lost a lot of body fat, a lot of the weight in just the last 3 weeks, really, and it's just been, she's doing the work. She's cut the calories down, she's cut the carbs down, she's controlling the servings, she's in that place where, she can't believe how incredibly sweet unsweetened oatmeal is, right? I mean, she literally texting me like, I can't, this stuff tastes like sugar. And I go, it's crazy. When you have removed the sugar from your body, a to-do list. Every day I have to just want, yeah, a checkoff is awesome. Hey, Jim. Good to see you, Jim. A checkoff list, a to-do list. Yeah. So give me your to-do list and let's make one master to-do list. I think I've started one 10 times and it wasn't on my to-do list to finish it. Okay, that's kind of funny, isn't it? Come on. That's funny. I had a to-do list started 10 times and it wasn't on my to-do list to finish it. I do have a cool project in the works right now, which is what do fit guys eat, and it's 10 perfect food days from 10 top fitness guys, which just documents exactly what they ate with photos on a perfect day for 10 guys, including Tom Venuto, Mike Ryan, Scott Tuzino. I've got a bunch of guys in it, but it's gonna be cool. I think that's just a really cool little guide. Something for me as simple as a to-do list. Check off what I've completed. A to-do list, all right? So a health, fitness, and mentality to-do list. If you look at my success trackers from Absolution, which was the original success trackers I created a long time ago, it has a to-do list on the bottom. And what I've always found about does creativity come from lack of consistency? That's a good question, Tom. What I've always, let me talk about that in a minute. What I've always found in a to-do list is if I have 6 or 7 practices on that list, I don't remember which, I always measured them on a positive. So if I did 2 out of 6, I got a +2. If I did 3 out of 6, I got a +3. I never got a -3 or -4 because that's our negative feedback loop. So if we positive feedback loop the things we get done, it kind of reinforces the positive. If you watch Scott's daily videos, he doesn't seem to have a perfect eating day. It's funny. I think creativity is not from lack of consistency, but I think it fits into lack of consistency because I think the creative mind is an open, childlike mind that accesses everything at the same kind of level, space, and frequently. But what it does, it accesses. It's always seeing things, so it's always able to put parts and start kind of assembling different pictures. And because of that, it's harder. It's not impossible. When I get into focus, I get into deep focus, and I usually will not respond to anything else. Like I had some calls to do earlier this week, and I set a call and I start on something, and I literally, my phone can go off, and I'm sitting here writing or doing something that's focused, and I don't even know that 3 hours have gone by. So like the focus is as deep as the lack of focus, but creativity has to do with, I think, not a strength of cognition, but a curiosity and an intake filter, which allows a lot of things in and processes a lot of things. So I think creativity follows curiosity. Yeah, I think positive angle. John says, I like the positive angle, Sean. Too easy to get run down when you don't get enough on your to-do list done. That's the negative feedback loop. We try to get ourselves to do more stuff by being negative, and it's just so ass backwards. When we just can reinforce the positive, reinforce the positive, reinforce the positive. If I could find that, let me share a screen thing with you real quick that I'm going to send you after this is over. So this is a guy named Dean Graziano. You probably see him on infomercials, right? And so what Dean does is he shares how this works, the impact filter. The value of that for me, for you, would be that he describes it in some other forms, which would give you a better sense, another fuller sense of what it is. And I think it's worth watching.
So amazing at boiling it down want to do. So I'm going to take an example here, and let's just say first wholesale deal.
So that's Dean's video. I want to send you that. You see the video. I mean, he'll be a little bit more about impact filter and the purpose of the impact filter because he takes it straight from Dan's cheat sheet, which is Dan Sullivan, who created the impact filter. But I want us to do an impact filter now, and I want to know what we want out of this thing. And I want to say again that if you walk away from this 12-week experience and you say, I understand, and I want to focus on the positive, I didn't get my desired physical result. Okay, but what did I get that I desired, or that serves, or that, what's impacting me? What has impacted me that I can use going forward? Or what has really been the gain? I learned something about what helps me and drives me forward. I learned that I don't respond to certain things or stimulus better. I learned that I don't really love this type of fitness and I want to do CrossFit. I learned that eating isn't all about dieting. I learned that there's something more to iron. I learned that I'm the one in charge of this whole program. I learned that I need a high impact trainer and coach for 12 weeks to push my ass every day. I learned I need to invest more of myself. I learned that I need to enroll my family more, whatever it is, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be a peripheral impact that we will have from this experience that I want you to, you're not going to know you have it if you don't get it down on paper and look at it and go, wow, I've got a tool set of value and information that can help me move forward in what I choose to do next. I may come through this 12 weeks and realize that this 12 weeks was the perfect 12 weeks I needed to gestate my idea about what the hell I really wanted to do in fitness so that I could then double down and get what I wanted, And I'll be the first one to tell you that it isn't about getting the physical results and achieving the goals and the body you want, and all that's a bunch of crap because it's really about something else. But to get to something else, it's really about that crap. How about that for a catch, right? It's not about making money. It's about curing your resistance to making money and getting a relationship with the energy and flow of the universe and finding out that it's all about abundance. But for me to recognize abundance, I had to go through the suffering of making money and dealing with what my demons and what was my resistance and what was in my closet about it. And guess what? So by having the goal of getting a six-pack abs, I discovered the resistance that was inside me. I released a certain thing that I would not have done otherwise. We climb Everest not just to get to the top, but to figure out who we were doing, who it was that was doing the climbing, right? We think it's about getting to the top, but it's all about figuring out who the hell is actually doing the climbing. It's about getting out of the idea that it is all about me and surrendering to the reality of it's something more than me, and surrendering to the reality of support, surrendering to the reality of community, and surrendering to the flow of life, and surrendering to my own resistance. And so everything we do is really an uncovering of who we really are. So, but if we don't do something with intention and purpose and veracity and vitality and meaning, then we'll never discover who we are, because then we end up being a biggest loser TV watcher, observing it, having a dialogue in our head, but never getting beyond the dialogue in our head. Because the dialogue in our head is a bunch of crap, and not until we move into something do we realize that the dialogue in our head was just smoke and mirrors. The mindset to be consistent. So that's my big thing today. I mean, obviously, I always have a thing, but I think today I'm really grounded in the reality train, the choo-choo reality train. Where am I? Let's find we'll get a whole bunch of hope and hype. That's fine. I'm good with that. But I want to ground everybody in, it's a story I told the other day on the video I did for the over 40 manual. I said, most guys in their 40s, if you ask them what the hell they're doing here, if they're walking in their job, and the door opens up and somebody said, hey, what are you doing here? They'd say, I don't know, I thought you knew. Because they're living a life, they're living a story that was created in their 20s that they haven't thought to rethink or to reassess. So much of this, what we're doing is going through the motions of stuff, and we're trying to find our way, but we're not really asking ourselves the critical questions. WTF we want out of this? What the fuck? What do I want? What am I doing here? What do I really want out of this? So you've got 3 weeks from me to get what you really, really, really want out of this. If you've done nothing to this point and now you want to kick ass for 3 weeks and figure out what focus intensity training is, do that. Do that. Do it. If you want to learn whatever it is I've got to offer, if you want to get deeper into focus intensity training, I'll go shoot a video on it. We'll ground on that. Ask me. Let's get there. I want to know the impact filter. I want you guys to do an impact filter. I want to check in. I want to know where you are and what's frustrating and what's working for you. That's what I want. Yeah, I appreciate it, John. Jim says, for me, it's about the mindset to be consistent. And the mindset to be consistent is knowing that the most consistent people on earth are still beautifully inconsistent. So they allow themselves the freedom and flow. It's that whole thing about mastery. Mastery is a whole lot of flat lines. So it's just about doing and bringing it into your life and knowing that even at your best, you'll take periods where you don't do it. I always like the Lance Armstrong story, which is, I train for 6 months a year so I can sit on a bar stool for 3 months a year and then spend 3 months a year dealing with how I'm going to start training for the 6 months. So he had this cycle. He was able to work his ass off for 6 months, do nothing essentially for 3 months, get back into the mode of struggling for 3 months to figure out what to do, train his ass off for 6 months. So, that's consistent. It's macro consistent because it's 3 months, 3 months, 6 months. It's micro consistent because it gives. He does the work. And sometimes, Lance needed a structure. He needed a structure called the Tour de France. And that was his guiding structure. So that gave him the goals. And so what if that's what he used? If he used it, he used it. That's the thing about could we do at least one more one-on-one? Yeah, I'll do a one-on-one. I really want some of the guys that haven't done a one-on-one, that don't respond, to get in for a one-on-one. So I'm gonna probably call some of the guys direct. No, I'm not yawning. It's not me. That was not me yawning. So don't start yawning. All right. I actually got pretty good sleep last night because I was too sick to work late. I felt pretty lousy. The other thing I want to talk about is testosterone real quick. So I didn't spend a lot of time looking at estradiol numbers. The macro numbers of the couple tests I saw, and I don't remember whose they were. I don't know if it was Jason John who put their tests up, but thank you for sharing. They were both low 300s. Low 300 numbers with 6.1 or 7 and 8 on a free testosterone, which really, just to be quite frank, that sucks. And it's so hard to say, why does that suck so bad? Why is it so often that's about exactly where the testosterone levels are coming in? I really keep expecting to see that these low 300 readings, which I've become so accustomed to seeing, is the anomaly. But the anomaly is a 650 reading. I think that you challenge us to be honest with ourselves has a valuable part of this group. Well, I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you. It's good to hear from you. So I want to, and so my testosterone take is this, and this could be a one-on-one dialogue, but when you're at 300 level testosterone, the chances that you feel okay or decent are pretty slim. it's just not, I mean, I have yet to meet a guy who had below 500 testosterone who did something to to support his testosterone and didn't go, damn, I didn't know how lousy I felt. I mean, I didn't know how bad it was. It's kind of like living paycheck to paycheck and then winning the lottery, and all of a sudden you're like, man, I didn't know how bad I was struggling. I didn't know how damn tired I was. You know, you're at 300 level testosterone. I can't encourage you enough to have a conversation with your doctor which says, look, I need to correct my lifestyle, which I'm doing. I need to fix whatever is broken in the system that's causing this testosterone to be this low. What I would like from you, doctor, is some rational and reasonable support on this. I'm not saying I want to be on hormone replacement therapy for the rest of my life. That's not what I'm asking of you. What I'm asking of you is that you could support me for 12 weeks to make sure that I have a prescription for some testosterone that would get my numbers back into a reasonable level, and that you help me monitor that. And I would like to get my numbers back to a reasonable level, and then I would like to go off the testosterone, maybe support it with the cycle of HCG, see how my lifestyle, when I correct my body fat levels with some support of the testosterone, when I cleanse myself of some of the estrogens, when I clean up my lifestyle, when I'm training consistently and eating consistently, can I support those levels? And I can look 3 and 6 months later and see, are they dropping or are they able to maintain? And you let them go and let them come back up. And if they don't maintain, then we look at lifestyle corrections, or we do intermittent cycles of hormone replacement therapy, every 90 days, or 6 months off, 90 days off, 6 months on, 90 days off, whatever it be. The thing I want you to have the experience of, if you're at 310, 320 level of testosterone, I want you to remember what it was like to feel 800 or 750 or 900. The 800, 900 is really a great range. A lot of doctors will tell you, I want 1100. Once you get up past 700, then we'll look at estradiol and SHBG and all these other things. But when you can get your testosterone corrected, it helps you correct your insulin, your cortisol. One of the things that we need to be doing whenever we're doing this is we need to make sure we're eating in a very low sugar. We're not drinking a ton of alcohol. We're not doing a lot of things that are going to hammer us anyway. So food's clean. We're eating low blood sugar, glucose controlled diet. Those type of things are really imperative. When your testosterone gets back up, your growth hormone can be more stimulated. So I just want to encourage the guys that have shared their levels to, it's great. There was a couple life extension tests. Will your doctor support you on that? Have you talked to your doctor? If you have not talked to your doctor, have a conversation. If you don't have a doctor that will support you, you need to find a doctor in your area. You need to find someone who can and will. And I really strongly encourage that. I don't have a network right now of people that can, do, and will. I've seen Dr. Tom do some great things with guys that get them on or off hormone replacement therapy and help correct it. I know how to lifestyle correct it, but to lifestyle correct it from 300 is a very difficult challenge. So, I think lifestyle correction from 600, we can talk about. Lifestyle correction from 300, not so much. So you need to do something and feel better. That's my wish for you, that you feel more vibrant, alive, and vital. And I think it make a huge difference. Retest in August and see if there's any improvement from my changes. Thank you, Jason. Getting your T right is putting on a pair of glasses. That's a good analogy, Craig. Craig says, getting your T right is like putting on a pair of glasses to help you see. Amen. One was mine, Jason. Thanks for sharing, Jason. I appreciate the courage and just putting it out there. I want you, if you don't have a doctor, maybe we can do a one-on-one call. But yeah, lifestyle changes is fine. I don't know of any natural supplements that really have feel any reason to help you take. A green drink that was good as a cleansing of estrogen. I do encourage a saw palmetto because it blocks a 5-HTP and some estrogen. Maybe I could come up with a good estrogen blocking formula, because if we could block estrogen, maybe, the saw palmetto, or like the beta prostate, not only is it great for your prostate, but it also it prevents a testosterone conversion to DHT, which should up the levels of T a little bit. Otherwise, you know, I don't know. I don't really know of anything that is rationally supportive. I think there's so much of it just hocus pocus, and I haven't seen one reasonable study that would really work. Some produce a little bit of numbers, but so what I'm going to do with you guys right now is let you go because we're at an hour. I'm going to show you this and send you this thing real quick here. Let me show you. Impact filter. I got into this challenge. My purpose was this. My importance, and Dean will talk a little about importance. You can get some more out of Dean's importance. Bonus success criteria, things I got out of it. The best possible result, and this can be done from where you are right now. Worst result outcome. I want to know what this is. And then I want to look at what are our takeaways. What's going to, if you look at, let's just be quite frank, I didn't charge a lot for this group. It's not a big expense. I did it because I wanted a different style group, a different relationship. I don't think that's necessarily a better thing. I think the ongoing continuity group month to month, I think that's a $39 thing. I think that's the place we live. I don't think that's a big deal. I think for people to do an intensive 12-week in small group stuff, the more money that I charge, the more consistent people are. That's one thing that I have seen in leadership groups throughout really strong in the last 4 or 5 years is that to get people in this busy world to make the changes in their attention, to commit to something, they must invest in it. And if they invest a significant amount, they also invest themselves. And it's twisted to think that, but if we put money into it, I have a justification internally to commit to it. When I've joined $10,000 groups, I go to them. If I join a $1,000 group, I skip them. That's the things that happen. So I think that there's some, letting off the group in a real cheap way might not always be the best way. So, those guys, you who have committed, congratulations, because you've done this largely of your own will and free will. I said I would talk about willpower, but I think what I want to know is, commitment, consistency, power, what keeps you going, the willpower thing, and I just want to know what the anchors are. What's my anchor? What's the anchor I need? What do you need? What is the anchor you need to get? That's the question. That's when you get back to me. What would it take for you to be consistent every single day? Ask yourself that question. And what is my kryptonite? Where do I fall down? Willpower we know is a finite resource. We know that willpower is directly related to energy and optimism. As long as I'm getting some positive feedback, as long as my energy is good and high. If I have positive feedback and wake up in the morning and I'm exhausted and I got 2 hours sleep, our willpower is going to be low. Our willpower is higher at the beginning of the day than at the end of the day. Like sleep and rest, willpower has to be supported with feedback and consistency and reward system. So those are the things I can give you on willpower. But I want to know what your kryptonite is, what keeps you going. I want to know where you are. I want to know what you're going to take away from this. And I want to know what you're going to tell other guys and how and what you would do that would save 5 other guys' lives because you said, you know what, you guys need to do this. So that's what I got for today. I'll send you out some one-on-one calls on a schedule, and I will do that in probably 15 minutes, and I'm going to sneeze in just a second. And I'll do a Google Hangout if some of you guys are up for a Google Hangout on Friday. Do it from the gym or something. All right. Let me know on the Facebook page if you want to hang out on the Google. All right. You guys have a great day. All right. Thanks. What's that mark under my arm? All right, man. Rock on. Thank you guys. It's awesome being here. Good to see you. I was full of piss and vinegar today, so thanks for putting up with me. I should do a poll on you guys, ask you questions. All right, rock on, man. You guys take care. Have a great day.